Fabricamos talento. Fabricamos innovación. Y, cómo no, sostenibilidad. Fabricamos una nueva economía. Y un mundo nuevo, en 3D, por supuesto. Pero sobre todo, fabricamos futuro. Y es que fabricamos empleo para más de 137.000 trabajadores. Fabricamos oportunidades globales de negocio en un espacio de más de 10 millones de metros cuadrados. Y fabricamos servicios de vanguardia y ventajas competitivas para más de 175 empresas. Consorcio de la Zona Franca. Fabricamos oportunidades para tu futuro.
Welcome to D-Factory, the factory that develops talent, technology, innovation, and of course in the heart of Barcelona. After all, D-Factory is consolidating Barcelona as a European capital of development for Industry 4.0, for digitalization, for transformation, creating 1,500 direct jobs and 5,000 indirect jobs in the city, close to the metro, the harbour and the airport. And promoted by the Consorcio de la Zona Franca de Barcelona.
Now it's a time of changes. Now is the time to move on. This is the time for solutions. Feel emotion. BNEW is born. BNEW, none of you. No one connected to you. BNEW, none of you. BNEW will do it for you. This is the time for solutions. BNEW is for you.
Buenos días desde el D-Factory, este nodo de la industria 4.0 del sur de Europa. Damos las gracias una vez más a los más de 12.000 participantes que han pasado durante esta semana por el D-Factory y también a todos los que nos seguís en streaming en directo a través de nuestra página web. Bien, el BNEW, esta Barcelona New Economy Week, es Green Deal, es sostenibilidad, obviamente, también es oportunidades, es networking y es conocimiento. Y en este conocimiento hay un segundo panel dedicado a la cuarta revolución industrial, la revolución industrial humana. Un concepto encuñado ya en el año 2016 desde el Foro Mundial Económico y vamos a ver en qué se traduce este concepto que todavía es relativamente nuevo. Este panel contará con una fuerte presencia de ponentes de máximo nivel de los Balcanes. Nos vienen de Serbia, Macedonia, Armenia, pero también tenemos representación en Colombia y también desde Holanda. De hecho, nuestro moderador en este caso se conecta virtualmente a través de nuestro plató. Como decíamos, un panel titulado BSUSTAINABLEINVESTMENT, una mezcla de vanguardistas técnicas de producción, pero también cómo se mezcla esto entre lo virtual y lo físico. Bien, como decíamos, contamos con Douglas Van Her. Douglas has founded and is the CEO of NX Zones and FDA 4.0, a global integrated network of economic zones and industrial parks converge around sustainability and the SDGs and operating in key Industry 4.0 sectors. Well, from Holland, thank you, Douglas, and everyone who's been part of it now, today in BNEW. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Welcome, everyone. I apologize for not being here again. I promise to be there next year, and definitely I'll make a real effort to be there again. So welcome, everyone. And hey, listen, this is going to be an exciting panel because we have We have a very exciting team of people that has joined us for this panel session. I'm very proud that they were willing to participate in this session. They're experts in different areas, but I think the common denominator is that they all share this experience in building free zones over the last, let's say, at least 10 to 20 years. And if you think about special economic zones or free zones or economic zones, however you want to call it, they are sort of a magnet for investment, but they're also allow us to experiment with different types of investments, different types of management, and different types of even sustainability, and attracting different types of activity also in terms of Industry 4.0. Let me briefly introduce you to this panel session. This session is what we call the Human Industrial Revolution, or Industrial Revolution 4.0. But what is, I think most of you are familiar with Industry 4.0, and I'm sure that the BNEW conference in Barcelona has talked about it extensively. It includes the new technologies, new industries that are emerging, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, biomedics, but it also centers around sustainability. And in fact, over the last year, we've published a number of articles on it, and one of them was called FDI 4.0, which focuses really on attracting investment in attracting new technologies, especially in those new technologies that are related to Industry 4.0. But what is even more important is that this fourth industrial revolution, as we call it, and even the previous industrial revolutions have been, they're all man-made. It's not something that it falls from the sky. No, it's man-made, and the human factor is extremely important. Although a lot of people emphasize that there will be replacement by people, by machines, etc. But at the end of the day, these machines need to be developed by us. And if we talk about artificial intelligence, it's all about the talent and the human factor behind it. So that's one of the reasons why we came up with the Human Industrial Revolution. It's extremely important, and it also relates to talent and sustainability and impact, which is going to play a critical role in attracting investment and developing special economic zones in that field. Let me briefly introduce you to this exciting panel. We have Ms. Nika Manukova. She's a management consultant, a business trainer, a mentor, and a coach, and she has more than 20 years of experience. She's the CEO of Signum. It's a consulting company specialized in BPO and re-engineering management systems. And from 2010, Nika has become specialized and an expert in SEZ, special economic zones, industrial parks, and she's been a regional representative of the World Free Zone Organization. Welcome, Nika. We have Eden Fakic. He's a member of the senior management team in establishing and developing free zones in Macedonia. So he's an expert in special economic zones, and he's been involved in attracting FDI projects over the last couple of years. Welcome, Eden. Then we have Maria Camila Moreno. I'm sure you've known her. She's the director of the Asociaciones Zona Francas das Américas. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And she's been also involved in developing special economic zones over the last couple of years. And she's been a speaker at various conferences, at UNCTAD, the World Free Zones Organization, the OECD, etc. So she's very knowledgeable about everything that comes down to economic zones, but also in relation to talent. Then welcome, Camila. The last speaker is Mr. Dragan Kosic. He's an expert also on free zones. He's a civil engineer with a PhD in economics on the subject of free zones. And for the last 25 years, he's a practitioner. He's led as a CEO the special economic zone in Serbia called Free Zone Pirate. And he's also dedicated to the development of special economic zones in the region. He's also a former member of WEBSA and a board director of the World Free Zone Organization. So welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's ready. We have about 50 minutes to have an exciting discussion. I'm going to ask you several questions, and I would like to start with Nika. Nika, you are a consultant as well, and you've worked with various special economic zones, and you've worked for the World Free Zone Organization. What is your take on this topic? What are some of the things that you can share with the audience, and perhaps also share some regional experiences as well in terms of looking at the human industrial revolution?
Thank you, Douglas. Thank you for the invitation, dear organizers. It's privileged to talk about the development and to share my experience and the knowledge. It's not secret that we are living in rapidly changing times, and we are facing different challenges that we need to find out the solutions. And if we're looking through the investment promotion and investment possibilities of the countries, we can find that taxation incentives, or for example, the governmental bodies trial is not important for investor anymore. What they are looking for is good place to live and good place to work. In this manner, they are looking for the relevant staff where they can organize their work. And last year, in 2021, the first ever human-based standard was published about the good governance. And they take into consideration the management system, where you are considering the beneficiaries, where you are considering the UN goals, ESG goals, and where you are considering how you can develop your start and the people. And as I can see from the free zones, and not only free zones, but also the investment that are coming to my region, many investors are looking for the places and the region where they can set up the businesses nearby universities, or they are suggesting to the governments to open departments of that specialization and qualification nearby. For example, if it will be logistics zone, they want to have a department of logistical skills nearby. If it's agricultural zone, they need to have a specialized and knowledgeable persons from agro sector. And what I see, if previously any organization was looking how to work efficiently with their resources, with their 5Ms, as Japanese are saying, the methodology they are working, the material where they are finding, the machinery that they are using, also taking into consideration the place where they have the environment. Now they are taking into consideration the first and most important thing, people that are managing all of this.
Thank you, Nika. I understand your emphasis on the human factor and the talent factor. Also, I think what you reference is changing turbulent times. It's one of the topics that I discussed in a panel session yesterday as well. But I do think it's important to think about that. It's not only turbulent times, but it's also times of where we're seeing a sort of a paradigm shift, a shift in terms of globalization, which is having a profound impact. I think uncertainty is one of the key aspects that many of us have to live with, and that obviously has an impact. I think also your emphasis on taxation as not only the key driver, or tax incentives is not only the key driver, but the focus much more on the quality of life factors is an important one. Turning to the next speaker, Eden, you are from North Macedonia, and so what are some of the trends that you can share in terms of, for instance, the fourth industrial revolution? And does that allow us or necessitate us to rethink our approach to investment in the future?
Dear Douglas, thank you for the introduction. Many thanks to the organizers for the opportunity to be part of this beautiful event and today discuss about Industrial Revolution 4.0. Manufacturing has evolved over the centuries from human-centered methods to what we see today, where we have highly efficient factories or dark factories. Today we have many new trends which are combining to transform the industry, the manufacturing, and create new Industry 4.0, the latest evolution, the latest revolution, industrial revolution. For example, you have heard about Internet of Things, but now we have Industrial Internet of Things, where actually we have interconnected devices used in the manufacturing to collect and transmit data. This data can be used to enhance the manufacturing and even bring us to the next level of predictive maintenance. How to migrate to Industry 4.0? It is possible to say that the migration to Industry 4.0 is quite complex. It's not just implementing new technologies and large investments in new equipment, machines, hardware, software, robots, education. It is a vision. It is a disruptive change in the way the companies were performing businesses so far. Some experienced companies are already living this process of transformation and toward Industry 4.0, but they are doing this very gradually because the change of the complete structure can generate major disorders of the production process. Unlocking the opportunities of FDI 4.0 will require governments and investment promotion agencies to rethink and reshape the approaches to FDI promotion and facilitation. In North Macedonia, in 20 years, we have established 15 free zones, but only 8 of them are operational. Why we stopped developing free zones? Until 2014-2015, the main question of the investors coming to our country was, number one on their priority list was how much incentives I will receive. So the countries of Southeastern Europe were fighting between them in being more generous to the investors coming to the region. But recently, the main question, the main concern of the investor is the talent. So in order to attract these activities from Industry 4.0, we must put talent very high on our agenda. Currently, we are working on establishing 2 new zones. First, high-tech zone in the Balkans, and first, green zone in the Balkans. The high-tech zone will focus on advanced technologies, on fintech, on R&D activities, and the green zone will focus on green energy and healthcare. Our strategy for these new zones is exceptionally different from the past strategy we have, because previously only labor-intensive activities were supported, and our main asset in attracting investment was a low salary. But North Macedonia is a very small country, only 2 million citizens, so we have very limited resources. And the capital is not a limited resource, but the people are a limited resource. And the purpose of the new zone is to create a strong and efficient startup and innovation ecosystem on a very attractive piece of land where we will use very wisely the resources available to the state.
Thank you, Eden. I like the new plans in terms of developing a green and high-tech innovation zone in the Balkans. I think that's very promising. Let me turn to Camila. Camila, you work with a lot of economic zones in Latin America, and some of them are very promising and have moved forward very rapidly in focusing on these new technologies and sustainability. But I think I would like to ask one point which was raised also by Eden, is in terms of talent, in terms of the human capital factor. It's not only having the talent available, but it's perhaps moreover having access to talent is something that is important for not only economic zones, but for countries in general. And what drives this talent? I know a lot of talent in some of these young and emerging industries, and especially young talent, is looking for creating an impact or having an impact in life in what you do. It's not only just making money, but it's also about getting a salary or getting well paid. It's also about doing work that creates an impact. And it also should be sustainable. I think sustainability is a key theme in anything that you do to attract talent. Can you share some of your insights? And I know you and I have talked about digital nomads before, so perhaps you can highlight some of those elements and whether they are, you know, are promising developments for some of the audience to share with. Thanks.
Well, hi Douglas, nice to see you on camera, and thank you everyone to be here today. Well, the topic is extremely interesting and is on the core of the discussion right now in the free zones. And just as Eden was saying, it's the new evolution of incentives. And Douglas, you have brought this topic before, asking, okay, we have these fiscal incentives, we have the VAT, the corporate income tax, but the new big question is about talent. And what is going to be that big incentive that we're going to give to the person that actually works in a company, that actually wants to stay working on the company? So that's the big question that governments, trade policies, and all the general managers in the free trade zones ecosystem are asking, and is the biggest, one of the biggest challenge right now we have, because as you know, the special economic zones are industrial parks or created for services, and it depends on the environment that you create within these companies that are inside. You have two types of companies. You have the manufacturing, the maquila that we call in Latin America, which, let's say, it's a more low-value labor force, and then is more about going and doing the manufacturing, which eventually can be replaced by this Industry 4.0. And then you have these ecosystems more for software, digital, gamers. And then the big question is how you tell to these young people that want actually to go to a physical place when everyone is just saying, I want to work from home. So from many conferences that I've had the opportunity listening here, there are two main things that I've taken from here that I want to share with you. And is the first one, it's that you need to create bonding between people so that they actually want to go to a physical place. That's the first one. You need to create bonding. And the second one is you create all this ecosystem, you give well, the incentives to the companies, but you also need to train them. And then the question was, okay, but you want to attract and to retain talent. Now we cannot talk about retaining, because in the moment that young people feel that they're being retained or they need to be loyal to the company, that's not the things that young people are looking. They're looking for purpose, they're looking for sustainability, and also they're looking to develop their skills. So they want to be empowered. So we cannot talk anymore about, among our free trade zones and about our system of how we're going to retain talent. No, first, how we're going to empower. And the third point is, you know all about this policy that is creating about the 4 days working. And we need to start thinking in the future, or now, well, if it's going to be 4, how we're going to be more efficient? Well, the answer is that it's going to be 4 plus 1. 4 days of working, 1 of knowledge. And we need to train, and all these industries, we have a lack of people trained to develop the 4.0. And we are here in one of the main cathedral, as I heard from Blanca. This is the cathedral of the 4.0 revolution, but we actually need people, and we have a scarcity of people that actually can know these skills. So these are the thoughts that I want to bring today with you, Douglas, about all this human revolution with the free zones and what we need to do about it.
Thank you, Camila. I like your emphasis on empowerment, which is an important one for, I think, for a young generation, a talented generation. I'm turning to Dragan now. Dragan, you've been involved in managing and setting up the pirate-free zone in Serbia for, I think, 20, 25 years. You've also witnessed a number of years that have been difficult in terms of economic cycles. And let me bring the discussion slightly back to a higher level again. What do you think in terms of all the developments that are taking place these days, geopolitically, but also in terms of the energy transition or energy security or food security? There's a number of trends, colliding together. What do you see in terms of global investment flows and changing supply chains? Are they really changing? Is it having a huge impact? To what extent is sustainability still a topic? If the world is so difficult, how can we still include that in, and how does it have a general impact on investment flows and supply chains? Please go ahead.
Thank you for everyone. The future brings to us not only for the industrial revolution, but this revolution born for indirect investment and very important for the logistic phenomenon. It is two phenomena going together with industrial revolution. What is new for us? For us, it is very important for European free zone, I think, that nearshoring. Now we preparing for nearshoring. Our free zone must preparing for nearshoring because the global supply chain have very big problem, and many companies from Serbia and also from Europe know that. We're preparing for a regional production center, sub-regional production center, because many companies, multinational companies, will establish his production in the region. And we must know that and preparing our free zones also for logistic, 4.0 logistic. What is this? It is regional logistic centers with intermodal and bimodal and trimodal terminals. This network of logistic terminals in the free zone will be big advantage from free zones in the region. It is one networking with this logistic center. It will be also the networking of knowledge of all the free zones. We must prepare for new investment. I think it is good news from European free zones, but it is changing the world now with pandemic, COVID-19 and war in the Ukraine. Now bring this investment will be close to us.
Thank you, Dragan. I like your emphasis on reshoring and nearshoring. I probably have some questions about that as well. And 4.0 logistics. I'm very curious to, does that incorporate some of the new technologies that have been around, like blockchain, etc. So I'm very curious about what that really entails. But I'd like to go back to actually the theme also is BNEW sustainability, and I'd like to go back to Nika with all the emphasis on sustainability, SDGs, which were formulated by the UN in 2015, and all the emphasis on ESG goals, etc. Unfortunately, I've been around for some years, and I've seen all this talk about sustainability, etc., by major companies. I think 20 years ago is when some of the companies started talking about environmental reports. This is often seen as some sort of a consultancy hype, or a hype by some of the big accountancy firms. I know KPMG published Shell's environmental sustainable report back in 2000 or 2003 or something like that, which everybody was saying, how can it be? That doesn't make any sense. So that's one question. To what extent is sustainability real? Do investors really care about this these days, or is it simply just a must-have, or being fashionable, or just being a hype, or you can't do without it? But at the end of the day, it's all about making profits. No bullshit. Forget about sustainability. We just need to move on. Can you? can you provide some input onto that? I'm sort of escalating the discussion a little bit more to what is, you know, what's being discussed also in the media. You know, in which direction are we moving? Is sustainability a real topic in boardrooms of some of the big companies? Is it real? Is it tangible? Please, Nika, go ahead. And if other speakers have some thoughts and ideas on that, please jump in.
And what you mean by sustainability? This is the management of the situation. And if I will share my experience with consulting services that I am providing to numerous of the countries, not only in my country, but all over the world, I am finding the interesting red line that I want to share with you now. Many companies that are thinking about the future, they are thinking about the next economy. And the next economy is being close to the universities, because now the students, as Camilla said, young generation are looking for something they don't know what. They want to work from home, but in the meantime, they need to have a good experience. What now developed organizations are suggesting is not to go to the digitalization and digitization, but produce technologies. And in this case, young generation will go there to work, and they will themselves build sustainable development for the next economy, not 4.0, but also for the 5.0 as well. And what they are doing now, they are producing next economy technological services now. And when universities are close to the economy, they understand what new skills, hard and soft skills, will needed in future, in 5 years, in 10 years, not what we have today. And the problem of the universities of today in all over the world, that they produce many students that for them is difficult to find job, and from the other side, many organizations are looking for the well-developed and well-skilled staff, and they cannot find. So now many organizations and universities are doing mutual work to produce new technology and to produce new staff, good staff for our organizations. That's the sustainability, to think about the organization for evolution 5.0.
Thank you, Nika, and I like the terminologies moving forward towards from 4.0 to 5.0. At the end of the day, we're talking about change, and change is inevitable. Mm-hmm. So we need to continue. Eden, can you share some experiences from your part of the world in terms of sustainability, some of the trends and the people aspect related to that? Camilla, I saw you writing down. I can still see that very clearly, writing down some notes, so I'll give you the floor next after Eden, okay? Yeah. Eden, please go ahead.
There are many new trends in the Industry 4.0 and many popular topics like collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, big data, cybersecurity, and some of these trends are really important, and we must understand them, and we must learn how to prepare for them. But one important topic, according to my opinion, is the smarter and sustainable production. Industry 4.0 isn't just changing how the products are manufactured, but what types of products are manufactured. We can see that these days everything around us is becoming smart, from vacuum cleaners to toilets, and this trend of production of smart products is not slowing down. So the manufacturer must take into account this trend, and they must fulfill the expectations of the customers for the smarter products. Of course, we have to focus on climate change and sustainability. I think that the throwing away culture is coming to an end, because now we have right to repair products, not just buy, use, and throw. And also this is another factor on which manufacturers have to focus and provide better results.
Okay, thank you, Eden. I like your reference to the circular economy, so things have a second or third or fourth life rather than just throwing it away. I'm still wondering, and I know there's a lot of promising developments in this field, but I think we all have this one here, which is an Apple iPhone or a Samsung, whatever you take. It's basically the two basic brands that are out there. I don't see that circular economy back in with, you know, what these companies are producing, because I think everybody knows that your iPhone literally is wasted after 3 to 4 years, since your battery doesn't have a long life. So I think there's still a long way to go, but I think we're getting there, and some of the new products are really smart products. So that's really promising. Camilla, you were writing down some notes when Mika was talking and when Eden was talking about some of the trends. You know, can you share your notes with us?
Of course. Well, you were asking if sustainability is a reality or what we were thinking, and I want to answer you. That is the core topic in the discussion on our free trade zones right now in Latin America, and we take it very, very seriously. In fact, from the association, we did a checklist of the SDGs that the free trade zones comply or not. All the free trade zones basically took it very, very seriously. They answered, and we detect 14 SDGs that we are complying within the free trade zones, because we have at the end the ecosystem, and what a great place that to have circular economy and industrial symbiosis. So it's in the core of our organizations. And Eden was bringing something very interesting, and that I had the opportunity to hear last week at the discussion of the World Trade Organization, and is at the end, tariffs and everything that we're talking here, again, about the incentives, 0% VAT and 0% tariffs, are going at the end, eventually, I cannot tell you when, are going to be changed by environmental or sustainability taxes. So we have to start thinking about that, because it's not going to be the company or the government, but the consumers that are going to start choosing these products that are environmental and sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you, Camilla. You had me writing down some notes because you shared some interesting insights on the environmental taxes that are going to be replacing some of the tariffs that are open by the WTO. It's an interesting point. So what you're saying, sustainability is at the heart of many organizations, and I think the difference is that they are not being imposed on us, all these regulations, but organizations themselves are aware that they need to make changes. I think that's the bright side of this new paradigm shift that is taking place. And Dragan, I'd like to turn to you in terms of, you know, when you've heard the previous speakers emphasizing some of the things in terms of digitalization, in terms of sustainability, what is it that you can share with us in terms of what is happening in your part of the world, and also from the free zone perspective?
In the future, investor thinking about where is put his money, of course. Now is not enough. We're talking about infrastructure, equipment, free zones. Now, in fourth industrial revolution, it is not enough to have all the infrastructure. We must prepare infrastructure in the free zone from future time. We must put in the free zone everything to enlargement investor to work with new technology. And in the same time, the free zone, it will be the part of new technology. It is very, very important for next time, and it is one word, it is digitalization of free zone. And of course, networking of free zone. You must know everything about in the region, on all the world, what's happened with our material, what's happened with our product, what's happened is incentives for every one of zones. It is very important for investor, and we will organize very quick decision for investors. He will go to the best zones.
Thank you, Dragan. Very good point. We have about 2 to 3 minutes left. That's all. Does any of the speaker want to re-emphasize or give just one key takeaway from this session. Nika, I see you raising your hand. Perhaps you can give very brief some key takeaway that people can go home with and think about. Thanks.
So we need, as I understand, and from the speakers and having possibility to listen other panel discussions as well, the thing that we need to go is the good governance. This is a very good cooperation between governments, state bodies, and investors and other organizations, not within the countries, but globally. And the second thing is going to the good governance within the organization, regardless of the size, location, and the management system.
Okay, thank you, Nika. Anyone else would like to restate or give a key takeaway, what is relevant for any of the audience or some of the listeners here? I see no one.
No.
Okay.
Well, Douglas, I think, and we discussed with the group of Latin American here, that we usually have this idiom that says work hard and play hard. Here is work hard, play hard, and live good. And because we are at the end part of all this ecosystem, so we really need that sustainability. We need to be sustainable. It's not only talking about the governments and about the companies. I also think that sustainability begins by us.
Yeah, very good point. I think I like your quote on live hard, play hard, live good. Work hard, play hard, live good. I like that, and I think sustainability, and I think all of us agree, eventually is not something that we can impose through a government or through international organizations. It's something that has to become part of our DNA system, and has to become part of our attitude and the way we live, and I think that's an important one. At the end of the day, it's us consumers that determine what we buy and the type of products that we purchase and which we eat and how we live. I think that's an important one. So I'd like to close it here. Thank you very much for all the speakers. I'm sad to not be there because I would have joined to talk to you as well and catch up. But hopefully we can do this another time, and I'm sure there will be an opportunity next year or in between. Thank you, Nika. Thank you, Camila. Thank you, Eden. Thank you, Dragan. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and hope to be seeing you very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you for the audience as well. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. And thank you from Connect from Holland. Camila, we need sustainability, but we are sustainable. How is the sentence?
Well,
sentence.
We need to be sustainable in order to demand sustainability to others.
Okay. Really important this difference, ¿no? Bien, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Este panel, como siempre, una vez más, ha tratado de la sostenibilidad, un aspecto importante que ya se añade también a la revolución industrial humana, esta hibridación entre lo físico y también lo virtual. Nos quedamos aquí porque ahora hacemos una pausa solo de 5 minutos. Volvemos con el tercer panel de esta última jornada, de este último día de la Barcelona New Economy Week, desde el D-Factory, la catedral, no paramos de decir esta palabra hoy, pero es que es bien cierto, la catedral de la industria 4.0 del sur de Europa, aquí, desde Barcelona, para todo el mundo. Hasta ahora.
Fabricamos talento, fabricamos innovación y, cómo no, sostenibilidad. Fabricamos una nueva economía y un mundo nuevo, en 3D, por supuesto. Pero sobre todo, fabricamos futuro. Y es que fabricamos empleo para más de 137.000 trabajadores. Fabricamos oportunidades globales de negocio en un espacio de más de 10 millones de metros cuadrados. Y fabricamos servicios de vanguardia y ventajas competitivas para más de 175 empresas. Consorcio de la Zona Franca. Fabricamos oportunidades para tu futuro.
Welcome to D-Factory, the factory that develops talent, technology, innovation, and of course in the heart of Barcelona. After all, D-Factory is consolidating Barcelona as a European capital of development for Industry 4.0, for digitalization, for transformation, creating 1,500 direct jobs and 5,000 indirect jobs in the city, close to the metro, the harbour and the airport. and promoted by the Consorci de la Zona Franca de Barcelona.